More Heart Than Talent Radio.
Jeffery Combs, president and founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. Welcome to the Tuesday More Heart Than Talent Facebook Live. Here we are, already April, 90 days plus some change have already passed in 2019. The question you want to ask yourself, am I productive or am I busy? Now, if you're productive, you're creating results, living the solution, handling adversity, challenges, adapting and adjusting 1 minute, one option, one situation at a time in a very relaxed body. You're able to address situations and move right into the solution, right into a result. Now you're going to create the best results in a very relaxed body. And I'm going to cover some of that content on today's Facebook Live and how to create transactions, how to move money into your bank account, how to change your dialogue with money, and most importantly, how to be commitment conscious. So the topic of today's Facebook Live is the psychology of closing, 7 keys to closing sales. Now, this right here is my newest book. Bestseller in Amazon in November in 2 different categories. My gratitude goes out to my good friend TC Bradley, who's very iconic, who is very, very skilled at assisting authors, taking their products and books to bestsellers. So TC is going to be a keynote speaker at one of my events coming up called the Protégé Writer Speakers Workshop. This book is called The Breakthrough Factor and is available on Amazon on download. And you can also purchase the physical book from me at my website, goldenmastermind.com. Now, very inspiring times at Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. This late spring, early summer, I'm going to be moving into a different level of coaching, sobriety coaching. I'm going to build a fan page, a business page, and start to create a culture that fosters sobriety. Now, for 22 plus years, I've been a success coach and addiction coach, but that sector of my enterprise is going to be focused specifically on the culture of recovery. So I'll be giving you more details as we launch that page. But for today's purpose, what I'm here to assist you and empower you with is the psychology of closing. In 2003, I released my first CD set called The Psychology of Closing. Actually, it was originally an audio CD. It was an audio cassette. In 2003, I brought out the CD version of it. So that product's been on the market for about 18 years. So that product is filtered around the world. I've sold that product in Taiwan. I've sold it in Australia. I've sold it in Mexico, Panama, at live events where I have spoken, Canada, many other countries, in all the cities in the United States. So the content I'm going to cover is an updated version of the content that I started delivering back in the late 1900s. Now, closing is a skill. Closing is a science, and closing represents finishing. And if you have challenges closing, asking for commitments, asking for the order, asking for the outcome, or qualifying buyers for your time, I offer 20 minutes of free coaching to any one of you that have never accessed that or possibly are considering hiring me to be your coach. You can contact me during, immediately, or after in Facebook Messenger with your phone number and what you'd like me to assist you with, and I will respond very quickly because I am a finisher. So that's what closing is. Closing is the ability to create outcomes. Closing is also the ability to let people go who are not qualified buyers for your benefits, your products, your services, your features, and for your business opportunities. And the more you understand people, the more predictable they are, then you will separate your feelings from the events, and you will be less likely to go into fight or flight, anxiety, fear, and doubt about being rejected, abandoned, making a mistake, getting in trouble, saying the wrong thing, in any multitude of situations that keep you perpetuating the same set of feelings over and over. A skilled closer can sell cars, houses, mortgages, network marketing, dreams, software, your lawn care, lawn service, antiques, any multitude of situations, because a skilled closer knows how to ask the questions in a sequence. Now, there's so much energy put into being a product of the product. Okay, I will say this. There's definitely merit to this, but also understand that a skilled Mercedes sales representative may not own a Mercedes. So being a product of the product means you don't have to consume the product, but you want to be able to believe in your product. You don't have to have a product testimony to be able to convey the value of the product. And this will eliminate this situation. Well, I haven't, so I can't. So many people get hung up on this. Well, I haven't had a product experience, so I can't sell the product. Well, that means you're making it about you. Or I haven't made any money, so I can't go to prosperous people. Well, you don't go to them, you ask them. And you're not a getter, a G-E-T-T-E-R. You're an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, your ability to create commerce, transactions, provide value, service, benefits, features, that's what's going to distinguish you from being average or being exceptional. This is a skill set called repetition and experience. So being a closer is an attitude. Being a closer is having posture. Posture is not how you stand. Posture is the energy you transmute. Posture is that electricity. It's that relaxed energy that you're able to transmute and convey to qualified buyers, that you're a self-proclaimed expert, you're skilled at your profession, you understand who you are, and you're able to convey the value and the service by the way you communicate, articulate your feelings, ask the questions, respond to questions, any multitude of situations that allows you to create win-win situations on a law of average. You can't close them all. Now, over the weekend, I spoke at a live event in Palm Springs. Not everyone bought from me. I then prospected Sunday, Monday, and now it's Tuesday. Not everyone buys from me, but because I'm skilled at my profession, I'm able to create enough transactions that I can create a livelihood. Now, to be able to create a livelihood somewhere between 6 figures and 5 figures, and then 7 figures, is going to be determined by your ability to ask the questions in a sequence, create a database, create a lead flow, attract your reality, quality, like-minded success seekers, a series of buyers, create the transactions, develop a culture, develop a team. Overwhelming. Not really. It's only overwhelming if you get overwhelmed. But your objective is not to be overwhelmed. Your objective is to be and stay inspired. Now, I ask this question every single day to my clients. Why do you own a business? The most common reaction that I receive anytime I ask someone that question, it's very, very common. It's a sound. It's spelled like this. Many people, I'll ask them why they own a business, and the first response to that question is meaning that they don't really have any vision. They don't have any clarity. They don't know why they own a business. They say things like, well, I want to help people. That's great. But the reason you own a business is for profit. That business is your livelihood. It's the vehicle that's going to allow you to live your dreams. You must treat your business like a professional. As you become a professional, then your energy comes off as a professional. When you're anxious, overwhelmed, uncertain, in disbelief, then you will treat your business like a hobby. When you wing it, when you don't have clearly defined goals, when you don't have dedicated blocks of time to build your enterprise, whether it's part-time or full-time, you're going to create hobby type of results. But when you're committed, when you're focused, when you're relaxed, now you're enhancing the law of average because your energy changes. You're going to transmute a different set of feelings. Closing is the ability to create outcomes. That's what it really means. Closing is the ability to present, articulate products, benefits, features, services, being able to sell the dream to a group of people, one person, 2 people, 3 people, whatever it is, you're able to convey the value. Now, whether that medium is done through a video or it's done through a presentation, a webinar, a Zoom call, whatever it is you're using, you want it to be simple. You cannot sell in a complicated form. Now, there are products, benefits, and features that are complicated. I once coached a client who sells a logistic product. Now, all sales have a sales cycle. Most of what you are going to be selling, most of you on today's call, you're going to be able to sell to buyers who will buy emotionally, and they will buy in a relatively short period of time unless you stretch the process out. Now, there are going to be people who want to stretch it out. They can't make a decision. They want to wait. They want to wait the perfect time, and everyone's entitled to decide when they're ready to buy, but your responsibility is to understand who is the qualified buyer. I had people say to me last week, this week, today, yesterday, when can I get back with you? Well, you can get back with me whenever you want, but really getting back to me, you don't have to get back to me. A simple commitment would be cool right here. Well, let me think about it. People are entitled to think about it, but what many people do is they're saying that to blow you off. It's going to be your responsibility to distinguish between someone who's interested and someone who's committed. Someone who's interested and actually wants to do the research, does want to think about it, does want to talk to someone else, or the person who's telling you that to tell you what you want to hear. Now, what many people do is they get attached. They get attached to the outcome. That's why the term detached is very important. You understand the integration of detachment. Detachment does not mean you don't care. Detachment means you're not attached. So you can be detached without being attached, and being detached doesn't mean you don't care. It means you understand what people mean, not what they say. And the more skilled you become at that, you'll be able to easily and effortlessly let people go, meaning separate your feelings from the outcome so that you're not attached. You don't feel rejected, abandoned. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. I can't understand why they didn't call me back. I can't understand why one of my customers has $2,000 of our products on their shelf and they're not using it. Well, it is your responsibility to understand that. It's not something you wrap your brain around. You don't figure it out. You understand it. And by understanding it, it means that you understand that most of society is commitment phobic. And people who are commitment phobic don't finish, they don't close, they're not committed, they're interested. And it's your responsibility to distinguish between interest and commitment. But if you're not committed, how can you attract your reality the quality like-minded success seekers who are committed? Now, what many people do is they wait, they avoid, they get ready to get ready. I had one of my clients that I was coaching today, and I was offering a referral to her. And while I'm offering a referral to her, I dialed the referral. Person picks up, I did the introduction, and now they're in a position that they can conduct commerce together. Do everything you can now. Do as much as you can now. Be present, be here, be now. Now, in the psychology of closing, I like numbers. I like 3, 5, and 7. So in a couple weeks, I'm going to come back and cover more content on this very call about closing a sale, because closing is a science. And when you become skilled at the inner game of closing, you're a closer. And when you're a closer, you will close transactions. And when you buy into the selling process, when you're not avoiding selling, then you're not hung up from the anxiety and the emotion of a rejection, abandonment, being overwhelmed, saying the wrong thing, and any of these other anxieties that you perpetuate over and over. Step number 1, create leads. More leads than time. Now, you may have seen me write posts for 20-minute free coaching calls. I will put that content on my Facebook fan page. I will put it on my Golden Mastermind page. I'll put it in my prospecting clinic. I'll put it in my guilt cleanse. I'll write it. So, I mean, I'm putting blanket content out there, attracting to my reality people and situations that will foster cause, meaning, purpose for value and service. Now, that's an affirmation, to state, to affirm, to speak into existence. I also write content to attract to my reality quality, like-minded people who are seeking sober coaching. I do that on Instagram frequently. There's a huge community of Instagram people who are in the sober community. Now, that's a real niche for me because I have 31 years of sobriety. I'm a self-proclaimed expert. I'm very skilled at it, and I can offer great service and value, but I require leads, and more leads than I have time. If you have more time than you have leads, then you're in a lead scarcity, poverty consciousness, lead poverty in any multitude of situations. So your swagger, your posture, it's not going to be enhanced because you have 1,000 leads. It's going to be enhanced because you're good. Now, you can have more leads in time and still avoid calling the leads because your story, as you let go of your story, then you can move into the glory of the situation. And the glory means you start to have some success. I'll ask my clients frequently, how many sales did you close in the month of March? 5 or 6. Well, was it 5 or was it 6? Until you have clarity, you're not clear. Until you have clarity, you're vague. And when you're clear, now your energy begins to move. It begins to shift. You're in consciousness. You're not in anxiety, fear, and doubt. How do I create leads? How do I? Well, it's not a how do I, it's an I am situation. When I was where many of you are, I used to buy leads. Now, buying leads is not the best means of your time. However, it's one way to have more leads in time. In my era in the 90s, I used to buy 500 leads for for $50. Those are 10-cent leads. I called every single one of them. And I had a metal ruler, and I would go right down each line, and I would put that metal ruler on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And over on the side, I would put NA, no answer. Over on the side, to put LM, left message. I would put on the other one, spoke to, get back to me. I mean, I would just make little tiny notes on the side of the page. And I didn't have a CRM. I wasn't that sophisticated. I was sophisticated enough to be a great closer. And I averaged, in my era, in my business, back in the day, I averaged somewhere between 10 to 20 sales a month that I would close consistently over the span of a 10-year network marketing direct sales career. I have always been a closer. So one of the situations you even say today is that I am a closer. You edify the fact that you're learning a new skill set. And closing means transactions. It means you have your own quota system. I have a woman who sells Range Rovers. She has a quota system. She sells 12 to 15 a month to make the quota and make the bonus. I mean, same happens in any situation that you're in. You want to develop your own quota system. I mean, it's not only the repetition and experience that creates the outcome. It's the conversations you have over and over and over, because that repetition experience allows you to understand predictability. Human beings are predictable. You're going to encounter objections frequently. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I want to think about it. I'm sure you can appreciate. I want to run it by. I don't make decisions without my husband, my wife, my significant other, someone down the street, my mentor, whoever. That's someone who requires third-party approval. There are many people that seek that because they aren't able to decide, or they have a business partner, a wife, whatever. You want to understand what it means by what is said. And the more skilled you become, you will understand that. It's also important that you learn how to book an appointment. You don't invite people. Hey, I'd like to invite you. Well, inviting is not a scheduled appointment. A scheduled appointment is a scheduled appointment because you ask for a commitment. I invited 10 people tonight. How many showed up? Well, there's a difference between inviting and scheduling them, and the language of closing is throughout the conversation. When you close, the minute you get up by making your bed, because you just finished one of the most important details of the day, the first duty of the day. But if you blow that off, because you're saying, well, I'm going to get in my bed tonight anyway, what difference does it make? Well, that means that's the first open loop you left because you didn't finish a completed project. When you're a closer, you are a finisher. When you're a closer, you walk through your house and you pick everything up you can possibly pick it up. You put it away, you wipe it off, you wash it, and you put it in its place. Now, this becomes an identity. But if you can't get your car in your garage, you're overwhelmed. You lose things frequently. You can't find your keys. You can't find your billfold. You kick your shoes off. You hang your coat over here. You can't find it. That's overwhelmed, baby. And if you're overwhelmed when you walk in the door, you're overwhelmed when you wake up, you're going to be overwhelmed when you're closing sales because you're in a future tense about situations that haven't happened because you are overwhelmed. As you begin to be in your body, as you're here and you're now, you're able to ask the questions in a sequence. You're also going to get told a lot, friends first, make friends with people. Well, that's cool. Also, being friends with people is really good, but you being friends with people doesn't mean they're going to buy from you. You can be friendly, you can be friends, you can be homies, homeboys, homegirls. You can create great relationships, but that does not mean they're going to buy from you. Yes, I've heard this a million times. People buy from people they like. There is merit to that. If you have a pleasing personality, if you have warmth, if you're transmuting your energy, you're coming from love, reciprocity, prosperity, those all are assets. What are liabilities are scarcity, uptight, I'm anxious, I'm afraid I'm going to be rejected, abandoned, neglected, I'm going to make a mistake, say the wrong thing. Any multitude of these situations can lead to outcomes that aren't favorable because you are transmuting from what is called a mixed message. A mixed message is like, hi, please sign up with me, but don't. I'm not sure if I can be responsible for you. Well, you're not responsible for anyone other than yourself. Now, your responsibility to your customer is going to be, you have to figure that out because determined on what you buy, determined on what you sell is going to be determined on how you service your clients. Because every business, every product you sell may have similarities, but there also may be distinctions and differences. So when you sell someone a house, there's not a whole lot of follow-up to that. I mean, they bought the house, they had an inspection, they walked through the house, they took their time, they went through the mortgage process, took them maybe 60 days, 30 days, or they may be a cash buyer, whatever. You're typically done with that situation. But if you sell something that has a follow-up process to it, well, that's a different responsibility. And that, so, I mean, oftentimes the sale begins with the close, and then there's the relationship that you build. So you distinguish between that in what you sell and what you're building. So there are differences in that. Also, different products and different services have different selling cycles, meaning that some people will buy emotionally. Some products people see it and they buy it. Other products, it takes more analytics. It's an analytical product. People may have to think about it, etc. Your ability to close is going to be your ability to adapt and adjust and understand the selling cycle of the products, benefits, and features that you sell. Now, most of the products I've sold in my career, I've sold radio, television, yellow pages. Some of those were immediate buys. Television was a longer buying cycle. I had to make spec tapes. I'd go down with my sales manager. We'd bring him to the office. We'd take him to dinner. So that type of selling cycle usually was a longer sales cycle. However, I've been in the radio or television station sitting there and someone calls in and they go, I'd like to buy some advertising. The sales manager goes, go down there and see Joe Schmo, local tire dealer. He's selling Michelins. He's ready to buy. I've gone down there and written up the order right there on the spot. I once went into a junkyard in Sacramento, California, and set a record for my company, and I sold 37 phone books to a pick and pull business in Sacramento, California in one afternoon. That was a walk-in sale. It was close to where I had a customer who didn't buy. I walked around the corner, knocked on the door, walked around the Rottweiler, saw the guy in the bib overalls, figured he was the maintenance guy. He was the owner. He owned like 50 of these stores. He was a multi-millionaire. I mean, once again, you can't judge a book by its cover, but also once you communicate with people, you want to be able to read the situation for what it is. So your posture, qualifying the leads for your time is not only important, it is imperative in how you go about qualifying the leads for your time. You do that by asking the questions in the sequence. Jeff, what are the questions I ask? I cover this in an audio download called Psychology of Asking, Psychology of Closing, and Psychology of Prospecting. Those are all my CD sets that I produced from 1999 to 2008. Now, those are 8 CD sets and 10 CD sets. They're available on my website. They also come free, F-R-E-E, when you hire me to be your coach. There's 50 hours of audio downloads. I typically don't ever take any of those to events anymore because people don't buy CDs the way they used to, but you can receive those on downloads free of charge when you hire me to be your coach. But there's also, in closing, there's a common sense approach that you develop to closing a sale. Now, I like to close early and often, and I'll close in the first question. Have you ever considered hiring me to be your coach? I'll ask a busboy, if I was selling business opportunities, products, services, benefits, and features in the network marketing direct sales industry, I would lead with a trial closing question. Rick, you look like a really sharp young man. Have you ever considered owning your own business? So Rick said to me one night, I'm going to college. That's not what I asked him. I once asked a chiropractor, I said, Dr. Steve, have you ever considered hiring me to be your coach? Dr. Steve says, I already have a coach. I didn't ask him if he already had a coach. I asked him if he ever considered hiring me. And that right there is your non-dominant ear. That's your left ear if you're right-handed. That's your hearing ear because you learn to lean in. So hearing is an auditory skill. I heard what that doctor meant. He meant he's not hiring. But don't you think, I get this a lot from some of my clients, people don't know, I don't think, I'm not a thinker, I'm not a processor, I'm not an analyzer. I live in a place called consciousness, and I understand, I know, I'm aware. I'm not judging prospects, I understand, and in universal law, you can't lose what you don't have. So if someone doesn't buy from me, I'm not losing it because I never had it. My objective is not to keep someone. My objective is to provide the products, benefits, features, and services that will allow someone to have a good product experience or a good experience with me. And as you move into that state of recovery, that state of consciousness, you're going to attract your reality more frequently, quality, like-minded customers, teammates, vendors, collaborators, soulmates, employees and other people that you can collaborate with. Now, in that situation, you're creating more win-win outcomes. Now, you set the close by the way you ask the questions throughout the context of the conversation. It's very important. You close at the start and you close at the finish. Based on what you reviewed, Susan, do you feel comfortable enough to purchase the product, benefit, feature, and service today? Based on what you reviewed, are you in a position to hire me to be your coach today? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look at your website. I'm going to watch some testimonies. Great. After you reviewed the testimonies, watch my website. When would you be in a position to decide? Well, I'll get back to it. Now, I understand clearly what that means. That's cool. Great. Whenever you're ready to get back to me, feel free to do that. I will not be following up. Now, in my world, I learned early in my career, the fortune is not in the follow-up. The fortune's in the close. Following up with people is important when you follow up with the qualified buyer, but if you keep following up with people because you're in poverty consciousness, lead poverty, then you're stalking people, you're chasing them, you're desperate, and your desperation will come through loud and clear when you're emotionally and financially challenged. As you begin to separate your feelings from the events and let go, you're going to attract your reality more quality, like-minded success seekers. So in closing the sale, it's a very simple equation. Are you ready to get started? Are you ready to purchase? Do you see the value? Are you in a position to access what we just discussed? Based on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being ready to buy, 1 being having no interest, where do you see yourself? It's all the same question. Don't get hung up on the right close. Focus on closing. Use your intuition. Use your repetition and experience over and over. Ask the same questions over and over. I'm going to revisit this topic 2 weeks from today, and I'm going to break it down to the 5 keys to closing. Now, today I covered 7 of them, but in 2 weeks, and I'm going to focus a lot on this year with many of you who are my routine, who are my regular clients. I'm going to assist you to really become that closer that you are capable of becoming. And closing doesn't only apply in your business. Closing is in everything you do. It means that you do it now, you do it swift, and you're right there. So as you move into that state of consciousness, you're not in an overwhelmed body. You don't have a compounded effect of unfinished projects. You have a lot of projects that you finished, and you're here and you're now. If you're seeking a free 20-minute coaching session and you've been thinking about it, move beyond thinking, move into the action, send me a message. I'll respond to you in about 5 minutes. So if you have a sense of urgency, send me a message. I will call you RFN. I'll let you figure that out right now. So RFN. So I heard Ray laugh over there. Those of you who know me knows what that acronym means. So once again, Jeffrey Combs, you have an outstanding afternoon. I'll be with you next Tuesday. This Saturday, I'll be in Los Angeles, California. Very unique opportunity. Many of you have never seen Deanna Smith speak. I have never had Deanna on any of my Facebook Lives. Deanna was a rock star closer in real estate, a very good friend of Brittany Cara. Brittany introduced me to Deanna. Deanna is now a very successful inspirational coach. She was a closer for a real estate company in Los Angeles called Rodeo Realty, top tier closer. So I want to thank you. Also, another one of my superstar closers, Katie Holland Rose, another great closer. Katie is a great real estate professional. I love to coach real estate professionals and network marketers, direct salespeople, and people around their business. Jeffrey Combs, president, founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. There's the goal post. Kick it through, baby. 3 points. There we go. Have a great afternoon. Bye.